Welcome to True Tales from the Other Side. If you have a true encounter with the unexplained that you want to share, contact us through the email address below. Enjoy.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was alone. The apartment I lived in then was on the edge of town. Quiet, too quiet. At night, I could hear my upstairs neighbor walking barefoot, the tick of their wall clock, sometimes even the creak of the building as it settled. The father was long gone by then. We'd barely spoken after the second month. And the truth is, I wasn't ready. I cried a lot, almost every night. I'd lie on my side, curled around my stomach, whispering things I thought no one else could hear. "I'm sorry you're coming into this," I'd say. "I'm trying. I don't know how, but I'm trying." Lena was born on a rainy October morning. She was quiet too. Never one of those wailing, chaotic babies. She just watched. Even as a newborn, her eyes seemed too focused, too calm. By the time she turned 4, the staring had become a regular thing. She'd sit at the kitchen table or on the floor while I folded laundry and just watch me. No blinking, no expression, just studying me, like I was the one who didn't make sense. I remember the first time she said something. It was just before bedtime. I bent over to kiss her forehead like I always did, and she reached up and touched my cheek. "You were sad," she said softly. "When I was in your belly." I laughed, trying to brush it off. "Yeah, I was going through a lot then. You remember that?" She nodded. "You cried every night. I could feel it when you curled up. I was floating in the dark, but I knew you were there." I didn't know what to say. My throat closed up. Then she added, matter of fact, "You said sorry a lot." I sat down on the edge of her bed. "Lena, how do you know that?" She just blinked, calm as anything. "I heard you. I was really close, but I couldn't move yet. I wanted to hold your hand, but I didn't have one." There was a stillness in the room then that I'll never forget. Like the air itself paused to listen. Then she smiled. "But I chose you anyway." After that, things started to change. She would say strange things when we were alone. Like, "Before I came here, I watched you from above the tree," or "You wore that white dress when you almost didn't keep me." That one hit me hard, because she was right. I had walked out into that old field behind the library in a white sundress, weeks before I even knew I was pregnant. I'd stood there crying, thinking about what I might do. No one was with me. No one ever knew, except, apparently, her. Lena also started humming, little tunes I hadn't heard in years, ones I used to hum in the car, trying to soothe myself during the first trimester. Songs I never sang to her, not once. But the part I still can't shake happened the night of her 5th birthday. I was cleaning up streamers and crumpled napkins from the kitchen when I heard her in the hallway, whispering. I poked my head out. "Lena, who are you talking to?" She was facing the wall, standing perfectly still. "She wanted you first," she said. Her voice didn't sound like hers. "But I got here before she could." My blood turned to ice. "Who are you talking about?" I asked, barely able to breathe. She turned and smiled at me, sweet as anything. "No one. I'm sleepy now." Then she ran off to her room. That night, I dreamed about a little girl outside my bedroom window. She looked like Lena, but not quite. The skin was too pale, the eyes were too large, and she was angry. I jolted awake just before sunrise, heart pounding. The next morning, Lena climbed into my lap while I drank my coffee and asked, "Do you remember the other one?" "What other one?" She leaned in real close, her little voice barely a whisper. The one who didn't get picked. After Lena said that, the one who didn't get picked, I tried to laugh. Just a quick breathy sound, like it was nothing. But I couldn't make myself say anything. I just kissed her on the head and muttered something like, "You've got quite the imagination." But all day I felt like I was being watched, not by Lena, not even in the usual way, by something else. That night I did something I hadn't done in years. I pulled out the box, the one I'd kept tucked in the back of the closet since before Lena was born. Inside was a folded paper with an ultrasound photo, a faded hospital bracelet, and the paperwork I'd never filed. The first pregnancy. No one knew about it. I had miscarried before I ever told anyone, 5 weeks in. Just a ghost of a heartbeat. There and then, gone. I'd buried it, pretended it was something that almost happened. Nothing real. Nothing with weight. But now I couldn't stop thinking, what if that was the other one? The next few days, Lena was quiet. She'd still watch me, but differently now. Like she was waiting, listening for something only she could hear. And then, 3 nights later, she came into my room around 2 a.m. I felt her hand on my arm and opened my eyes to see her standing there in the dark, pale in the hallway light. "Mommy," she whispered, "she's getting closer." My mouth was dry. "Who?" She hesitated. "The one from before. She's mad." I sat up slowly. "Why is she mad?" Lena looked down, twisting her fingers. "Because I got to be your daughter, and she didn't." After that, the dream started again. Same girl, same face, not quite Lena's, her skin a little off, her hair darker, but it was the eyes that haunted me. Too wide, too knowing. She'd stare through the glass, unmoving. Sometimes I'd see her just outside the hallway, in the dream, or curled on the ceiling like a spider, whispering, "You forgot me." One evening, I came home from work and found Lena in her room, sitting cross-legged on the floor, with all her dolls turned around, their backs to her. "Why are they like that?" I asked. She looked up at me and said, dead serious, "She doesn't like to be watched." I didn't sleep that night. The final straw came a week later. Lena was drawing in the living room while I made dinner. I glanced over and saw her working on something with furious focus. I walked over, expecting a scribbled castle or family scene. Instead, she'd drawn a window, and in the window was a little girl with black eyes and no mouth. "What is this?" I asked. Lena shrugged. "It's where she waits." "Where who waits?" Lena didn't look up. "She said she's going to come through. She found the crack." I took the drawing, crumpled it, and threw it in the trash. "No more of this. Do you hear me? No more." Lena didn't argue. She just looked at me, quiet, calm. "You can't stop her." That night, I sealed every mirror in the house with bed sheets, and I moved Lena's bed into my room, just until I could figure out what to do. Just until I could forget the sound of that voice in my dream, whispering, "You picked the wrong one." I didn't sleep the night after Lena showed me that drawing. Every shadow in the apartment felt wrong, too deep, too still. I kept catching movement out of the corner of my eye. Just a twitch, a flicker, and every time I turned, nothing was there. But the worst part, the mirrors, even covered, I could feel them, like they were listening. That night, I dreamed again, of the girl. But this time, she wasn't at the window. She was inside. I was standing in my own hallway, and there she was at the far end, facing the wall. Same long dark hair, same pale skin, same 2 large eyes. She turned around slowly. Her mouth was stitched shut. Still, somehow, I heard her speak, inside my head. "You said you wanted me." I woke up gasping, and Lena was already sitting up in bed beside me, wide-eyed and pale. "She was here," she whispered before I could even say a word. "She stood next to the bed and looked at you. I told her to go away." The next morning, all the mirrors in the apartment were fogged from the inside, even the ones we hadn't used, even the ones that were covered. I tried everything: sage, salt at the doors, every folk remedy I could Google at 3 in the morning. Nothing worked. One night, Lena walked into the living room while I was frantically taping a protective symbol to the wall. She stood there for a long moment, then said quietly, "You don't need to protect me." I turned, startled. "What do you mean?" She looked at me with eyes that suddenly felt much, much older than 5. "She's not coming for me." A chill rolled through me. "Then who?" Lena didn't answer. That was the night the crack opened. It happened just after 2:30 a.m. I woke to the sound of tearing fabric, like someone ripping through a tent. The air in the room went cold, thick, hard to breathe. I couldn't move. Lena sat up, bolt upright, staring toward the mirror across from the bed, the one I'd wrapped twice. The sheet was fluttering, like wind was blowing from inside it. Lena clutched my arm. "She's coming now." And then, without touching it, the sheet slipped off the mirror. What I saw wasn't my reflection. It was me, but I was sleeping. Alone. No Lena in the bed. The room in the mirror was wrong. The walls darker, the light too dim, everything just off. And standing over the sleeping version of me was her. The girl with the stitched mouth, except now her mouth was open, and she was smiling. I screamed. Not out loud, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, but somewhere inside I was screaming. And then Lena did something I'll never forget. She stood up on the bed, raised both hands, and spoke in a voice that wasn't hers. It echoed. "You had your chance. You weren't chosen. Leave." The mirror shattered. Glass sprayed across the floor. The lights flickered. And just like that, the air cleared. The pressure lifted. Lena collapsed against me, unconscious. She slept for almost a full day. When she finally woke up, she blinked up at me and said, "It's quiet again." "Is she gone?" I asked. Lena nodded, then almost sadly, "For now." That was 3 months ago. We moved out of that apartment. I don't keep mirrors anymore. I don't play music I listened to during that first pregnancy. And sometimes, late at night, Lena will sit up in bed and look toward the darkened corner of the room. I ask if she sees anything. Most nights, she just shakes her head. But once, just once, she looked at me with those ancient eyes of hers and said, "Not yet," but she remembers.
Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next set of tales from the other side. Submit your story to the email below. And remember, nothing is what it seems.